Jai Gurudev. Am I audible? My internet says it's not connecting. I hope I'm audible. So I joined by phone, but that is also not.
Yeah, Jai Gurudev,
Yes.
you are audible, Sumaji. Please go ahead.
Okay, thank you. 1 minute. ॐ सहना भवतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं करवावहैः तेजस्विनावतीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहैः ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः नारायणं नमस्कृत्य नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयमुदीरयेत् वसुदेवसुदं देवं कंसचाणूरमर्दनं देवकी परमानन्दं कृष्णं वन्दे जगद्गुरुम्. Which shloka are we in? Which page? I don't remember now.
We need to start shloka 12. But you may want to read a few paragraphs before chapter 11, shloka 11, and then go to 12.
Start with 11 and 12, then go to 12. Nivritti and like big one, chapter 11. I think I'll just read the gist alone. Shri Bhagavan Ashochan Anvasochyastvam Prajnavadamscha Bhashase Gatasum Agatasum Sumscha Nanus Shochanti Panditaha. So Bhagavan Shri Krishna said, you, Tvam, you, Ashochan, those who should not be grieved for, Anvasochya, grieve, Prajna Vadhan, words of wisdom, Bhashase, you speak of, Cha and Pandita, the wise, Gatasun, those from whom the breath has left, Agatasun, those from whom the breath has not yet left, Cha and Na Anushochanti, do not grieve. Bhagavan said, Shri Bhagavan Sri Bhagavan said, you grieve for those who should not be grieved for, yet you speak words of wisdom. The wise do not grieve for those who are living or for those who are no longer living. Arjuna said, confused about dharma and adharma and overwhelmed by sorrow, became a Sishya and asked for Shreyas. Wanting to help Arjuna out of his sorrow for good and knowing that relative Shreyas was useless here. Krishna's teaching was for imparting self-knowledge alone. The subject matter of the remainder of the Gita is self-knowledge, Atma-jnana, the cause for the removal of sorrow. Shankara's commentary starts with this verse since it marks the beginning of the teaching. While the word tvam, meaning you, refers to Arjuna, it can also apply to any second person. The word is significant given that the whole Vedanta Shastra is nothing but that thou art, tat tvam asi. The whole Vedanta Shastra is tat tvam asi. You are thou, that thou art. The first 6 chapters of the Gita deal with you alone. What is you in the equation? Tat tvam asi. You are that. That means you are equated to that. That has to be presented and the meaning given is the Lord, Ishvara. Therefore, tat tvam asi means you are Ishvara. That there is no difference between you and the Lord is obvious. But because the statement tat tvam asi is an equation, it seems as though you are equated to the Lord. The vision of the Shruti is that you are that Ishvara who is the cause for the entire creation. That Brahman you are. The Tat Tvam Asi equation is a statement, a Vakya of this vision. There are 2 elements involved here. One is Ishvara, the Lord, which is the meaning of the word Tat. And the other is the Jiva, the individual, which is the meaning of the word Tvam, you. Unless the meaning of you is properly understood, the equation cannot be understood because there is a contradiction. If the statement you are Brahman were to be a self-evident fact, there would be no necessity for the teaching at all. Since, however, there is a contradiction between Jiva and Ishvara, we have to resolve it. Unless there is absence of contradiction, there is no identity. Unless you recognize the real meaning of the word you, which means I, there is no way of discovering the identity between you and Ishvara, and that the Tat Tvam Asi equation reveals. Therefore, the first 6 chapters of the Gita emphasize you. The next 6 chapters deal with that, the Lord. And the last 6 chapters deal with the identity between the two. You will find as you proceed that the whole subject matter in the 7th chapter changes and that the last 6 chapters are significantly different. Arjuna's sorrow is your sorrow. Arjuna's sorrow, the subject matter of the first chapter, is the sorrow of any jiva, the individual, who is subject to sorrow. That Arjuna was sad is not unusual. In fact, we are all with Arjuna. His sorrow seems to be very legitimate. If this situation could not cause sorrow, what could? We can well appreciate and sympathize with Arjuna because, for much lesser reasons, we find ourselves in even deeper trouble. That is the condition of the jiva. That the jiva is desirous of getting rid of sorrow is also obvious. Generally, people seek relief through escapes. What is significant here is that Arjuna wanted to resolve the sorrow for good, which is the reason we have a Gita, Gita Shastra. Arjuna was told straight away by Krishna, "You, Arjuna, grieve unnecessarily." Over the shoulders of Arjuna, you too are being addressed. You too have entertained sorrow, the state of mind known as shoka. What is deserving of grief? Shocha is that which deserves grief, that which has legitimate basis for sorrow. In the society, we have universally accepted that certain events are matters for sorrow, while others are not. For example, when someone is about to be married, we do not send condolences, we send congratulations. Marriage is a matter for joy and laughter, not for sorrow. This is the cause, this is the case in any culture. For death, on the other hand, even when there is relief involved, because the person was suffering extreme pain and required constant care, there is at least a tinge of sadness when someone dies. Therefore, death is synonymous with mourning and can be called sochya universally. There is also personal sochya. You may be sad because of something that has come or gone, whereas another person may not be sad at all. A man may be very happy that his mother has come, whereas his wife is a pack of nerves. For him, the event is not socha, but for her, it is a great socha. Because this woman has walked into their home, one person becomes a pack of nerves. The other is ecstatic because he can show off his accomplishments to his mother. The event is the same for both of them, but for one person it is socha and the other it is asocha. Thus, we find that some things are sochas universally and others are socha only for an individual. Culturally, there may also be a peculiar situation that are sochas. In some cultures, the birth of a girl is socha, whereas in some other cultures, birth of a boy may cause sorrow, since too many boys are definitely a problem. Thus, an object of sorrow, shocha, is called shocha, just as an object of knowledge, jnana, is called jnana. An object of sorrow means a situation that causes sorrow, be it an event or an experience. A situation that does not cause sorrow is called asochya. Here, Krishna's contention is that whatever may be the situation, you have no legitimate reason for grief. In the coming verses, he will establish that there is no legitimate cause for sorrow, both from the relative and the absolute standpoints. The wise do not grieve. Here, Krishna told Arjuna that he had picked up sorrow where it was not warranted at all, and that people of knowledge, Panditas, do not entertain any grief. Panda means self-knowledge, and Pandita is one in whom self-knowledge is born. Krishna also acknowledged in this verse that although Arjuna was grieving over that which did not deserve any grief, he had also spoken words of wisdom. Bhagavan remembered all of Arjuna's words from the first chapter when he spoke so eloquently about who would go to Naraka and why the Dharma would be in trouble, etc. While acknowledging the wisdom of Arjuna's words, Krishna told him that people of wisdom do not grieve. Arjuna was not a wise man, and that was his whole problem. Krishna knew that all he had to do was make Arjuna a Pandita so that he would not see a problem where there wasn't one, as he was presently doing. The sorrow itself was unwarranted, which was why he was aggrieved. With reference to what do the wise not grieve? Lord Yama. Death can interfere at any time. There are many breaths, and any of them could be the last. One breath alone does not last for 8 years. Between every inhalation and every exhalation, there is a gap. Therefore, how do you know which breath will be the last? Only when the next breath comes do we know that the last breath was not the last. The verse makes a distinction between one who has breathed his or her last and one who has not. Men of wisdom do not entertain any grief either for the dead or for the not yet dead. Why was death referred to here? Because all of Arjuna's arguments revolved only around death. He was always talking about the imminent death of his teachers and members of his family. Destruction was involved because there was a battle ensuing. This was one reason. In addition, death is the only event that universally evokes sorrow. We would never send condolences to the bereaved unless we know they were sad. On the other hand, if the survivors were sometimes happy, we would not automatically send condolences. We would have first found out whether they were sad or not, and if not, if they were happy. We would have to send messages of congratulation. Without even a thought, however, we all send condolences because death is an event that universally evokes sorrow.
Can
To
you read
use
it
an
again? That last paragraph.
In addition, death is the only event that universally evokes sorrow. We would never send condolences to the bereaved unless we know they were sad. On the other hand, if the survivors were sometimes happy, we would not automatically send condolences. We would have first found out whether they were sad or not, and if not, if they were happy. We would have to send messages of congratulations. Without even a thought, however, we all send condolences because death is an event that universally evokes sorrow. To use an analogy for why death was used here, a boxer who wants to become the heavyweight champion of the world has only to fight one person, the present champion. All he has to do is knock him out and he will become the world champion. Similarly, if death is one event which invariably evokes sorrow in all, with reference to which the wise do not grieve, certainly the loss of hair or loss of a relationship or marriage will not be the cause for sorrow. Finally, death is a particularly appropriate event to use in a discussion about sorrow, and its removal when what is to be discussed is Atma, which is not subject to death. Krishna told Arjuna that anything he might look upon as a source of sorrow was not, nor would any wise man look upon anything as a source of sorrow, because there is no source of sorrow. So Krishna was very clever. He wanted to teach him Atma Jnana, so he very cleverly told that wise, though you talk like a pandita, but let me tell you, the wise men do not grieve for the dead or for the living, because he wanted to discuss this Atma has no death. And Arjuna's sorrow was for the body, loss of the body. Source
I
of
like that
sorrow.
sentence. Hello?
Yeah.
I like the sentence that there is no source of sorrow.
Yeah.
There is source of ananda, but there is no source of sorrow. It's all imagination, superimposition.
Yeah. Sorrow for the mithya, for the body, temporary body.
In addition to fear of the death of loved one, the other was what? In addition to that, what is the other reason for Arjuna?
That's the only reason, no? That he will, and also dharma. Dharma will be lost.
No,
There will be no.
there is a one sentence. In addition to death, there is some sentence for 3, 4. In addition to death is the only event that, okay, uniformly and universally evokes sorrow. Okay.
Death is the only event. But Arjuna spoke as a pandita about dharma being lost and all that. So therefore he was sad that why dharma would be in trouble.
Thank you.
So source of sorrow. I like this point you picked up, Sureshji, that there is no source for sorrow. Source of sorrow. Why is it that?
That's really wonderful. I think we should remember.
Underline that. Underline that.
There is no source of sorrow. That's it.
Gurudev also says this in all, in the last video of Silence Course, no? There is no misery in the world. Because all our misery is in relation to
ignorance
and our relationship, our finance, our health.
No, that is all ignorance only, no?
Yeah.
They are all temporary. It will pass away. We do it in advanced course. Any problem? It will pass away. It will not stay.
Jai Gurudev, but at that moment it looks so intense, right? Any pain or whatever.
Yeah. But we have to be, we are wise, no?
We have to remember
become
it.
wise.
We have to remember that since, as Dr. Brahmaraj ji says, that we are all on the mumukshutva path, we have to remind ourselves again and again. This is all not to be worried about.
Yeah.
But still we can't let go.
Yeah, this world is as though real, as though, it's not. So the pain is also as though it's paining.
Gurudev says, no, we are in conveyor belt, we are in queue. Still we say somebody dies, oh, bichara mar gaya, like that.
No, sorrow is not sorrow unless we complain. That's what we had read. No, that one also I liked it. See, there is a pain.
Yeah.
But unless we complain, that pain will not affect us.
Hmm.
When we complain, we are identifying the body with us. You know, pain is for the body, not for us.
But it
The
is quite
sentence is
debilitating at that moment. We are not able to do something which we want to do. That pain stops us from
no.
doing.
I think it comes last verse it was, or I think it will come now. That pain, unless the body pain is a pain, unless we complain.
Okay.
If you start complaining, means we are identifying with body.
Hmm.
Then it is pain. That sentence is also good, and no source. There is no source of sorrow. Wonderful.
What is it that can cause you sorrow? There can only be two sources: yourself, Atma, or a source other than yourself, Anatma. If Atma is the source of sorrow, then there is no problem. You will always be sad because sadness is your nature, your swabhava. In fact, when you are sad, you will be very happy because to be sad is your nature. Gurudev also says this, that people find joy in being sad. A restless monkey is a healthy, happy monkey because restlessness is its nature. A quiet monkey is a problem and should be a cause for concern. If you are taking care of a monkey who suddenly becomes very quiet, do not think he has become a sadhu and is meditating. He definitely has a problem and may require attention. Similarly, what is natural to you cannot be source of sorrow. If sorrow is our own nature, then we have no cause for sorrow at all. We should all be happy being sad. Thus, if Atma is the source of my sorrow, then sadness is not a problem. Since sadness is a problem, we must analyze whether it is the Atma or the Anatma that is the source of our sadness. This means that either the world that you come across is the source of your sorrow, or you yourself are its source. So either the world that you come across is the sorrow. World is the anatma, the cause of sorrow, or you yourself are its source. In other words, you are a source of sorrow to yourself. Therefore, you have to analyze Atma and Anatma from this perspective too, in order to discover the source of our sorrow. This analysis is the sole subject matter of the Gita. Panditas are those who know the Atma and Anatma. If you know the Atma, then you naturally know the Anatma also, because what is not Atma can only be Anatma. Conversely, if you know what is Anatma, what Anatma is, you will also know what is Atma, what Atma is. Therefore, knowing one implies knowing the other. Arjuna's grief was due to not knowing the difference between Atma and Anatma. That is, he did not have Atma Anatma Viveka. Knowing the difference, the Viveka resolves the problem. This verse identifies the subject matter of the Gita as Atma Anatma Viveka and states the result of such knowledge. Knowing themselves, the wise do not grieve. The Gita Shastra is the connection between the subject matter and the result is that it reveals what the Atma is. Sorry. The Gita Shastra is the connection between the subject matter and the result. In that it reveals what Atma is, thereby enabling one to become wise. And who is qualified for this knowledge? A qualified person is one who has a good degree of dispassion, vairagya, with reference to his or her likes and dislikes, one who has a desire for liberation, mumukshva. Here, Arjuna is the qualified student and Krishna is the teacher. So, a qualified person is one who has a good degree of dispassion.
That is the key. The dispassion is the
So,
key.
so before that sentence was that Arjuna was not knowing Atma Anatma Viveka. So how the dispassion or Vairagya will be there? So how?
Because at this stage he said, no, I want to leave everything and go away to the forest. So that is the, for him, isn't that correct? That
Yeah, correct. He just wanted to leave, but not because of the frustration. Means then Krishna tells him everything. Okay, thank you.
Mm-hmm. And who is eligible for this knowledge? One who has vairagya over his likes and dislikes, and who has a desire for liberation. And because he kept saying, no, I want to be a sannyasa. Sannyasa is for liberation. But in Arjuna's at that time, a sannyasa was just escape from his battle. So here Arjuna is the qualified student and Krishna is the teacher. A pragmatic view of this verse can be viewed from the standpoint of a pragmatist who has no belief in any scripture or its statements. Or it can be viewed from the standpoint of a person who has faith, shraddha, in the survival of the soul after death. From the standpoint of a believer, astika, a follower of the Veda. It can also be viewed from the standpoint of the vision of the Gita, the standpoint of the Atma itself. The practical person's standpoint is that any sorrow, if analyzed, has no legitimacy. So from the practical person's standpoint, any sorrow, if analyzed, has no legitimacy. Legitimate sorrow is sorrow that is commonly accepted. The question is there a sorrow which can be called legitimate? For a simple practical person, if sorrow produces a result that you want, then it is legitimate for you. Otherwise, it is not. That we all have sorrow is not in question for the practical person, but the point is that it does not produce any result. When a person is sad because someone very near and dear has died, what does this sadness produce? Does it alter the fact that one's friend is dead and gone? No. Sadness does not alter any fact. A woman is crying because someone has died. Crying, she gets up and lights the stove. Crying, she boils water and makes coffee. Crying, she adds milk and sugar. Crying, she drinks it. Nothing changes. Previously, she drank coffee and now also she is drinking coffee. All that is new is the crying. She is not taking coffee to cry better. No fact is altered. From a pragmatic point of view, sorrow is not going to help you, and it certainly does not help the dead. If I am dead and gone, I have no problem. Even if I'm dying, can I afford to be sad? The heart generally does not give up easily. It keeps trying even when there is pain, even when it misses beats, or even when one artery is gone. It does not give up. However, when you become sad, the heart may think, this fellow is sad. Why should I continue to work? Because you have already decided it too will give up. The will also seems to have a way of moving the limbs and organs to make them tick. If this will is gone, if you are sad, the fighting system will necessarily give up. There is a story about three men who, in the doctor's opinion, were dying of terminal diseases. The doctor therefore asked each one of them what he wanted. The first man asked for a priest so that he could make his confession, and this was arranged. The second man wanted to see his family, and the doctor arranged this as well. The third man was asked what he wanted. He replied, I want another doctor. The third man was practical and wanted to live. He had certain something about him that perhaps would make the heart try harder, because all the strength he had was required in order to live. He definitely could not afford to be sad. We have already seen that sadness with reference to someone who's dead produces no result, in that it does not alter the fact. But shouldn't you be sad if someone is seriously ill? If you cry when you visit such a man, he will think he is going to die. Although all doctors may have been telling him that his condition is not serious and that he should not worry. The doctors may even have some hope, but your crying is going to make him doubt what the doctors have been saying. In other words, he will read his own death in your crying and then give up. Anyone who is ill requires strength and therefore cannot afford to be sad. Instead of crying, you have to boost the person's morale in whatever way you can, which in turn can boost his or her strength. Grief is never legitimate. Thus, crying does not alter the fact the dead have gone and the dying do not require your crying. If you yourself are dying, crying is also useless. Why then this sorrow? Sorrow still takes place. It is born of confusion. Sorrow still takes place. It is born of confusion, aviveka. What is subject to change will change. Why then sit and cry? They are changing, they are changing. Changing is changing. One who, one who dies is one who is subject to death. Therefore, the one who will die dies, and the one who will not die does not die. What is it not subject to death will always remain, and what is subject to death will not. Death may come earlier than expected, but it is always expected, although we do not know which breath will be the last. Grief, therefore, is never legitimate. From the practical person's standpoint, sorrow is useless. For the one who believes that the jiva continues after the death of the body, sorrow is also not a problem because the jiva itself does not die. So, twofold teaching methodology, pravritti and nivritti. The first portion of the Vedas is in the form of pravritti, meaning that you engage yourself in positive pursuits in order to accomplish certain ends, which you do not have now and want to accomplish. These pursuits may be in the form of progeny, wealth, another world, a better birth, and so on, all of which require appropriate effort to achieve the desired ends. This subject matter of the Vedas in the form of effort-based pursuit in terms of action, karmas, is called Pravritti Atmaka Shastra. The karma enjoined in the first portion of the Vedas is threefold from the standpoint of the meaning of doing it: mental activity, manasa, speech, vachika, and physical activities involving the limbs, kayika. For example, repeating the Vedas is a prayer employing both mind and speech. Chanting the Purusha Suktva is also a prayer in praise of the Lord, the Purusha, which is everything. Purusha Sukta also gives you the knowledge of the Lord. Any sukta is both prayer and something to be understood. Chanting is a karma, which is vachika. However, chanting also be an anga, can also be an anga, a part of a ritual. For instance, a pandita may chant the Purusha Sukta line by line while offering a flower or some other oblation. Thus, the same mantras can be chanted themselves, forming a prayer, or used as part of a ritual. This threefold karma, kaika, vachika, and manasa, is the subject matter of the first portion of the Vedas and is what is meant by pravritti, what you must do to accomplish certain desired ends. The last portion of the Vedas, called Vedanta, is Nivritti Atmaka Shastra, is in the sense that is purely in the form of negation. The first part of the verse we are presently studying, Asochan Anvasocha Tvam, which reveals the entire subject matter of the Gita, is also in the form of negation. In Pravritti, the doer, the karta, is retained. The karta is told to do certain things in order to accomplish certain results. Whereas in the Vedanta portion, the very notion that I am the doer is questioned and negated. Here also, there is something to be accomplished, that which is not already accomplished by you, the karta. The accomplishment is negation of the doership in the wake of the knowledge of the Atma. So that's why all the Upanishads are in the Vedanta part, isn't it? It's the negation of the doership in the wake of the knowledge of the Atma. This portion of the Veda, which says that you are the reality of everything, that you are the whole, is in the form of negation, nivritti, in the sense that all notions that you superimpose upon the self, the Atma, is negated. Therefore, this part of the Veda is in the form of knowledge, jnana, leading to the negation and recognition of what I am not, and an appreciation of what I am. Sorrow is something that is superimposed upon the Atma due to the non-recognition of the nature, the reality, Swarupa of the Atma. Therefore, all sorrow is really without reason, because sorrow itself has its roots only in non-recognition of the self and confusion. The word anatma cannot cause you sorrow, nor can Atma be a source of sorrow. Thus, this verse starts with the negative particle, nan, meaning not, ashochan, which means na shochan. Generally, anan would not be the first word of any shastra, negation not being an appropriate beginning. A shastra should begin with something positive. Here, the shastra, being in the form of nivritti, begins with nan. It begins with the word asochan, meaning that nothing is deserving of grief. Because Arjuna was in sorrow, the word asochan is extremely relevant here. The Lord is called Hari because He is the one whose grace removes everything. Lord is a robber, a remover of all your problems, of everything that you do not want. Lord Vishnu is called Hari and Lord Shiva Hara. Both their names originate from the same root ha, to rob, to remove. Sorrow is not reasonable. Arjuna is told, you are aggrieved for no reason. You have entertained grief with reference to situations which do not demand any grief from your part. Bhishma and Drona can take care of themselves. You need not have any grief on their behalf, nor for any other reason. If you understand everything from the standpoint of Atma, there is no sorrow. From any other standpoint also, sorrow is not reasonable. It is not that Arjuna was advised to have no sorrow. Such advice would not have been proper. Therefore, we should not say that we should not be sad because the Gita says so. Nor does the Shastra say that it is not proper to be sad. It says there is no reason for sadness, meaning that sadness, sorrow is something to be inquired into and understood. We can share what we gathered. I know we did this yesterday.
That's what, he says it's not a commandment. It's not says no need to have any sorrow. He says this is reason he's saying, step by step he's giving the reason why we don't have to have sorrow. Yes.
And goes and directs you to inquiry, self-inquiry.
Absolutely correct.
Why am I sad? Then it leads to who is sad, what is sadness, all that. So it leads to...
Yeah. Headlessly, becoming sorrow has no meaning. Understand why, what is all this. Then you yourself will know there's no reason for all this sorrow because there's, that's what it is.
Such a delicate wisdom to impart, to somebody who's sad.
No, that's what, you're right. Silence.
So only grace of Bhagwan only has helped Arjuna. Says, can't just say don't be sad because Gita says that's not correct. When somebody is sad, any amount of advice won't work.
Here it said, no, he is happy because it is his nature as a sadness. So how we can tell them to don't be sad? Or anyone.
The one who can remove our sorrow is Hara or Hari, grace only.
Yeah, and that Hara and Hari, Har, R is same, so it removes.
Hmm.
The meaning is removes your sadness, your cause of sadness. So only Hari and Hara has that capability, means that power.
Yeah. So that is why only their grace can remove everything. So again leads at the end, Krishna says, no, surrender to me. So he's asking him to surrender to Hari. For the grace to flow, you have to finally say, I don't know, you help, surrender.
And
So,
actually, we are always seeing the forms from the beginning. No, like when when a baby is born, it has a form, and it is that perception is always done in a form. So that anatma is always so heavy on our minds that we are always relating everything to that. And when a person suddenly disappears, then it is that form which lingers on in your mind. And though we know that the knowledge is there, that Atma and Anatma, the truth is Atma, but still because that impressions of that person on your chitta, it is for so many years. So they don't go away. They linger on.
yeah, your dear
But the
ones.
hmm,
Yeah, so it is so, though being in knowledge, still it is so difficult to, um it takes time. Like it is not that it doesn't go away, but yes, with time that, yeah, that acceptance starts happening. But
Yeah,
initial days, it is a great sorrow to lose someone and to like not finding that person in between ourselves. So, because we are always being humans, we always relate to the body forms, and it is yes, this knowledge helps to move faster, but it is not that is suddenly certain person dies and with knowledge you just come out in a speck of a second. That is not possible. You feel that sorrow, that pain. It maybe it will take less time than others, but there is sorrow. So this sorrow related to death is universal, which cannot be. Uh, it is not debatable. Like it will be there. Always, it will be there. No matter how much we be learned, but that universality of sorrow relating to death will always be there. This is what I was just thinking. Like one of a sadhak, she was yesterday. She went on a ventilator, and now it's like chances are very bleak that she will come out. So, just relating how we were like there was a group of sadhak, and now she is in that state that maybe we'll find her or not. Like it's not predictable, but yes, condition is quite serious. So just reading this, I was just relating how sorrow is there. Of course, you cannot move away from that sorrow. Yeah.
yeah,
so much.
No, we have come out of, we come into the samsara with a form. You see, otherwise, no samsara for us. When you have come into the form, we always are attached to the form. You know, that is what is samsara.
So that is why we also have a mourning period, no?
That's what all that.
Ease out the sorrow. Again, depending on how close you are with that person will linger on even 5, 10, 15, 20 years. They will linger on. But the intensity of sorrow will not
Diminishes.
be. So
It's
we
always
have
impermanent.
sorrow period.
Sumaji, can we read that last paragraph where the jiva remains and death is universal? That last paragraph.
Which one is this? This one. Sorrow is not reasonable. This one.
Where did you stop today? That
Here
yeah,
only.
yeah, that only.
Sorrow is not reasonable. Arjuna is told, you are grieved for no reason. You have entertained grief with reference to situations which do not demand any grief on your part. Bhishma, Drona can take care of themselves. You need not have any grief on their behalf or for any other reason. If you understand everything from the standpoint of Atma, there is no sorrow. So Krishna is leading Arjuna, is lifting his eyes from the mundane to the higher truth. So if you look at it from the standpoint of Atma, there is no sorrow. From any other standpoint also, sorrow is unreasonable, is not reasonable. It is not that Arjuna was advised not to have sorrow, advised to have no sorrow. Such advice would not be proper. He was asked to inquire. He said, it's okay to be sad, but see if your sorrow has legitimacy. Therefore, you have to inquire. Therefore, we should not say that we should not be sad because Gita says so. Nor does the Shastra say that it is not proper to be sad. It is. We will be sad. However, when wisdom will help us, wisdom and grace of Harihara and wisdom will help us to come out of this or move above this sorrow. It says there's no reason for sadness, meaning that sadness, sorrow is something to be inquired into and understood. Sorrow is universal, as said earlier. Everybody
Next,
will feel this universally creating sadness.
next
Any part.
paragraph you have stopped, I think, two orders of reality. There where
Yeah.
the last sentence is only jiva remains. That is the last sentence of that paragraph. So next heading, two orders. So somewhere where no. Where it was the last sentence was only jiva remains. Okay.
Must be earlier then.
It's okay. No problem. Okay, so much. No problem.
I think it was much earlier when he talked about Jiva and Ishvara. That was much earlier, right? Quite beginning, big starting of this session it was.
Yeah, so he says only body goes and only the jiva remains. So knowing that reality, what is permanent?
Yeah. So should I stop here or read this? This is only little more.
It is under the heading of grief is never legitimate. No, last paragraph. Grief, therefore, is never legitimate from the practical person's standpoint. Yeah.
Should I
Page
read this?
179, if you want to read.
179.
Yeah, the grief is never legitimate. Last paragraph.
Grief is never legitimate. Grief is therefore never legitimate. From the practical person's standpoint, sorrow is useless. And for the one who believes that the jiva continues after the death of the body, sorrow is not a problem because jiva itself does not die.
Thank you.
Here the jiva is that atma which has that impression, that causal body with itself. That is jiva, no?
No, causal body doesn't take anything. It is
Impressions
somebody.
are that impressions which are there with which we leave the causal
Marana
body
Sharif.
remains. Yeah, that remains for a person till it achieve moksha. So that he'll be carrying those impressions. So that form is that jiva. Otherwise we could have used the word atma. Jiva continues after the death of the body because it has still to be that he has to continue in that prarabdha, he has to experience. So he will be going with those karmas, the sanchit karmas, the prarabdha. So, and he has impressions of his life. So he'll be leaving that body with those until unless that causal body is also shed off, he cannot attain moksha.
So we need to have that wisdom right from maybe teenage, I think, because young people can't understand. Children won't understand that. But late teens, this wisdom should be there, I feel, because total ignorance, all this.
No, even if you don't understand, you will have that impression that from the childhood, if you are into that samskara, you'll know that.
Yeah. No, what I'm saying is that the jiva does not die. That wisdom or that knowledge should be
that knowledge will not be there.
revised.
Okay.
Should be revised with teenagers, late teens, definitely. I feel.
Now, if you chant Gita, you will understand it. When childhood only, you'll just get glimpse of it. You may not thoroughly understand it.
Unless you are a mature mind, even a child, then only you will get it. Otherwise, most children won't get it. Most children are afraid of death. Shall we stop here? We'll read 2 orders of reality. Loka samasta sukhino bhavantu. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Om Sarvam Krishnarpanamastu. Just a minute. He's accepting this. Let me stop share. Living every moment. Can you hear? Totally with depth.
Yes, Sumaji.
Let us keep our spine erect and body relaxed and eyes closed. Relax your shoulders. Keep a big smile on your face. You're sitting like the statue of Buddha, very serene and with a serene smile on your face. Relax your body. Let's take a deep breath in and breathe out.
Become aware of your chest region, throat and chest region. If you notice some tension in the body, just let it be. Except those parts of the body where you feel a tension, the other parts are in comfort. Other parts are at peace. Become aware of that also. There are many good things about you and inside of you. Acknowledge them. They will never leave you. And the negative aspect you may see in you is never going to stay with you forever. They are all guests for some time. Let them be. Sit with the total acceptance of yourself the way you are at this very moment. Total acceptance of what is now here will lead us to deeper meditation. Let go of all the effort. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Let go of all your effort and be in this emptiness. And slowly and gradually become aware of body and surroundings. And you may gently open it.
Jai Gurudev.